Welcome to Shorty SuperCoach. Hope you guys are going well out there. Now, remember the simple time last Thursday when we thought our main issue was Zach Butters out of form? A fair bit has changed since then. Now, today we're going to look at what to do with Paddy Cripps. Now, if you started with him, you've got a bit of joy out of him. If you were one of the people who got on him in the last week or two, there's nothing much more frustrating. If you're one of the people who had him as skipper, boy, you're going Alistair Clarkson punching the wall sort of stuff, I would imagine. Very frustrating. But all we can do now is actually move forward, respond, and see how we're going to deal with this. So there are a few options, and the biggest talking point is how long is he actually out for. So we don't know that yet, but I thought I'd do a video because every man and his dog's wondering what the hell do I do with Cripps. I'll also talk about some of my potential trade options this week. And for those following along at home, there was no paranormal activity in my bed this morning. That sounded a little weird. If you watch the press conference, it makes sense. My lamp turned on for some reason overnight. My phone ended up in my bed for no reason, okay? But today I just woke up in a nice, peaceful state of mind. That's actually not true. I woke up with the alarm pretty early, hoping Cameron Smith was in the mix for the Masters. And almost as soon as I woke up, he triple bogeyed the 12th. And I was like, well, I guess I'll go back to sleep, which I didn't really. I just sat there listening to Gary and Bucks just talking trash on SEN. But that's how I started my day. Anyway, let's straighten things up because it's serious stuff. We got to work out what to do. We've got a lot of trades, but they are getting worked over pretty quickly. So I want to just first off say the number one thing to consider, and we'll know in probably a day or two, how serious is this hamstring? I'd be shocked if he plays this week. I'd probably be surprised if he missed just one. But let's say he plays this week. Fantastic. That's great. We can save ourselves a trade. I think the most likely scenario is that we trade Paddy Cripps out. And it hurts me to say that, but the biggest reason is his score on the weekend. The fact that it's a 38, it ensures that he's going to be under 500k again at some stage. Unless when he returns, whenever that is, unless he goes bonkers immediately, he's going to drop at least 15, 40k potentially. There's a real chance that he would have to return extremely well to stay above 500. Point being, we're going to be able to get him in pretty cheap like we could at the start of the season. So it's not an absolute disaster. Say if he got injured in the third quarter and scored 91, it'd probably be a different question because I'd sort of be like, look, you're going to have to, if he's out for a week or two, you might be better off holding him because you're just going to have to bring him back in because I think he's a top 8 mid and you're not going to get any value for money down the track. But that 38, if we're looking for silver linings, gives us some room to bring him in cheaper in 2, 3, 4 weeks, whatever it turns out to be. So I think you've got one or two options. If you are going to trade him, then I think you're either going down or most likely you're going up. So I think Neil Erasmus and Nathan O'Driscoll are probably the two main guys I would suggest going with if you were trading down. So having said that, that wouldn't be my priority for you to do. I think it's always risky when I know it's great for cash, but so there's O'Driscoll, there's Erasmus. I don't think there's really anyone else that really lights our fire. No, I don't think so. So they'd be the guys that I suggest you bring him in anyway, in some way, shape, or form. Get out of here, Tui. That was a mistake. Some way, shape, or form, I think they should come into your team. For Cripps, I don't think so. Now, the risk, like I was saying, yeah, it's fantastic, great, I can pocket, $400,000, I can spend that elsewhere, blah, blah, blah. You don't want to expose too many mid-rookies because I feel like our best ones have been great, Horn Francis, Dacos, etc., but the rest have really been struggling. So that's why I don't think it's great to expose. It's fine to expose Rochelle and Nick Martin and Will Brodie, they're going fine. Our forward line rookies are going great. But I think exposing potentially one or two of, you can see the guys on my screen there, a lot of you will have similar. I think is potentially risky. And let's bear in mind, as good as O'Driscoll went on the weekend, he was sub first week and then scored 49, I think, week 2. So the inconsistency is there. So I would suggest finding yourself a premium. Now, immediately, I go Jack Steele. Now, I just think a lot of us traded him out at the start of the year, expecting a bit of a price dip, and we've seen a price dip. There was only one price dip because his worst score was in round 1, so I know he's gone down marginally, but it was really that 40k drop, including that 87, and now he's back, and he'll hit that break even. I feel like it's just a matter of time before he hits out of 150, so I don't think you're going to get him much cheaper, and you're going to want him at some stage in the season. So my gut feel says go Jack Steele. My second gut feel would be maybe you don't want to spend that much coin. Maybe you don't have that much coin. Tim Taranto is just 10k more expensive. Get him in the midfield. If you can swap him forward, if you can swing him forward, that's great. If you can't just yet, I'm sure you'll be able to when we get some dual position stuff going on after round 6. But I'm sure you can swing him into the midfield, whether it's this week or next. I think that wouldn't be a bad option because a lot of us thought he might have dropped away without Toby Green. He's playing more forward. It hasn't seemed to be the case. He's been going great, and he has a break even of about 88. Now, a lot of people will just go Tom Green, and that's fine too. You know, he's looking great. Wasn't at his absolute ball-winning best on the weekend, kicked some ripper goals, but, you know, Tom Green, also a very acceptable option. Just moving forward, and these might not be your Cripps options, but bear in mind, I reckon in 2 to 3 weeks, we've got a good opportunity to launch at some premiums. Now, Tom Mitchell, are you set on him? You know, is he a premium these days? 380s and a 120? You know, because if you're a believer in Tommy Mitchell, okay, he's probably not going to get much lower than that, but he's already dropped a fair bit, so you might consider him. Now, Darcy Parish, get out of there, Dunks. Darcy Parish, another interesting option. Again, he hasn't had the absolute whopping game just yet, like we saw pretty regularly last year. No Zach Merritt. Is he getting affected at all? Don't know. But again, he's dropped 40k and is probably going to hit that break even or be there and abouts. Callum Mills, I think, has already dropped 26k. I feel like he's at a handy price range. But I more so wanted to talk about Petrarca, Tuke Miller, and Andy Brayshaw. Now, these are guys that we're never going to get them at a bargain, but if you can just get them under 580, that's bloody impressive. I'm not saying Miller will be, but he'll get close. Now, he's 188. Andy Brayshaw, after that massive round 2 score, he's going to drop that. So he's come off 2 mid-90s, 175, 622k. He's going to be well below 600k at some stage soon. And Christian Petrarca, keep your eyes on him, because after his ripping start to the year, has just semi-plateaued, and he'll be well below, probably 570 at some stage. Why do you have a golf putter?
Just practice my putting.
Yeah?
No hobby.
How about you practice your putting in your fucking room, man?
Don't swear, mate.
Identify yourself. Identify yourself. There are people out here who watch it that know you.
I'm going to win the SuperCoach draft this year.
I'm trying to record, man. This is what happens when you live with freaks of roommates. You know, never go to flatmates.com. Huh?
What's your first one?
Just who to bring in for Paddy Cripps.
Probably Lachlan Neal.
Real point of difference, man. Everyone has Lockie Neal.
Yeah, 'cause he's the best player in the league. Nah, point of difference, I'm telling you.
Yeah.
They're Kyle Cocker too.
No, leave. Leave now. That is my housemate who loves the Lions. Yeah, anyways, let's straighten things up. He walked into my room with a golf club, so that's not concerning at all. Like I said, Christian Petrarca, definitely falling well below what he's worth, and obviously Clayton Oliver as well. You know, he'll have to be doing some damn good things to keep that price above probably 600 really. So there's definitely a few guys that you can think about bringing in from a premium point of view, even if it's not this week. the only reason I suggest Jack Steele is because those handful of other guys, the ones who have bottomed out, I'm probably not as keen on Tom Mitchell and Parrish, and I am keen on Petrarca, Brayshaw and Miller, but I feel like they're going to drop anywhere from 30 to 60k, just depending how they go, over the next 2 weeks. So it might be just worth keeping some cash in your back pocket. I'm looking at potentially Raul going up to one of those guys. We'll just see how it pans out. First things first, we've got to know what to do with Cripps. So I think that would be my main option, and that's why I sort of lean towards Steele, because I just don't see him having a poor game. Like, he's one of the most consistent. Like, not only is one of the best scorers, but he's insanely consistent just by the nature of the way he scores. Whenever he doesn't get a lot of the ball, 23 touches or something like that, he'll rack up the tackles. Now, like, look at these numbers. Lowest score of 91 last year. The year before, I think he averaged 120 again. Chucked in a 73 in round 3, and that was about it. 84 in the elimination. That didn't worry us in SuperCoach Land. Like, he just barely goes below 80. And, I know we saw Miller and Oliver. They don't often do it either. So it can happen. But I just think I love watching Steele play. I love having him in my side. So I just feel like, well, if he's in reach, and depending what goes on, I could go. So I guess with my trades, I could go Dill Stevens to Erasmus, which would give me maybe 120k or something like that, which would just get me Cripps to Steele. And then if I decided, again, Mitch Hinge, we've probably got to wonder how long-term that is. I do want to get my hands on O'Driscoll, so it could be Erasmus, it could be O'Driscoll. I probably feel like I want to get both. If Hinge is just sore and he plays this week, I want to keep him even with that 37. I think his scoring ability, being an on-field player, is crucial. If not, Gibcus could make way potentially. I don't really like that because he still has a little bit of money to make, but I just don't think he's got much ability to score much more than 60 or 70. Therefore, I'd probably only see him getting to 240, 250k. I'd probably only be leaving $30,000 to $60,000 on the table. Other options would be just pull the cord on a McDonald or, a Hoff. McDonald could be a reasonable point because he threw into 23. So it's just, I don't like trading guys out and only making $40,000 or $50,000. But when you've got, it's hard to find players with good break-evens and make us money quickly. So I feel like I don't want to miss O'Driscoll or Erasmus. And we'll just see how the teams come out. Obviously, we don't want to get ahead of ourselves. You never know what can happen. I'm also planning for Bruce to probably come in. Gosh, I don't know. It was going to be Wits, and then he went bang, which I'm not complaining about. But all of a sudden, it means I could be leaving money on the table with him as well. We're going to have to just assess it because Nick Nat's out now too. That's only going to be beneficial for Dixon, one would imagine. So there's positives, there's negatives. Let me know your trade options, not just for Cripps, but overall. And I'll be going live on Tuesday now, actually, which I should have a video out pretty soon, 8 o'clock, but I'll put that in the comments as well. So thanks again for tuning in, guys. Hopefully that brainstorming sesh has helped you a little bit. But feel free to ask any questions in the comments, and I'll do my best to get around them. And if not, jump along Tuesday night, and we'll talk then. Cheers.